my beginner's tip playing this game, and the Fisherman Fishing Planet, a slight tutorial. Just the basics, more depths of how to use it. Actually, we'll use for a beginner setup. 4,500. I've used this setup to do better as well. When you set up your rods, best idea, if it's a bit over on the max drag, it's absolutely fine. Your reel will handle it and your rod will handle fine. Over, you're just going to snap your rod every time. Well, you'll snap your line every time. So that is why I have a 10-pound test to match my rod. Also done that same for my feeder, which is actually the beginner's feeder you can get for free with this version of the game. Obviously the reel is actually one I've had to buy to match the rod a bit better. I'm still using the braid. I'm also going to use the, it's not exactly the greatest, but it's one of the starter rods you can get, and I've gone for a reel which will match it, and obviously a line that will also match the rod. As you noticed, I've also put fluoro leaders on all of them just to give them a bit more of an edge, so if they snap, all I'm going to lose is the hook and the bait, and hopefully not my cage, and hopefully not my floats. Now obviously you won't have as much inventory or stuff in your inventory, and not as much storage space. As you can see, it is pretty much filled up at the moment. Right, so a few tricks and tips. Obviously you've done the tutorial and now you want to go fishing. Now no matter where you go when you first start, you'll probably go lone star quite a bit and you'll fish. Let's see, you also have Lesne Villa, which is a good place to go fishing and get yourself quite a few credits or bait coin by doing the game's missions, and you'll also get a few free useful items which will help you as well at the same time as you go on and get further on. Tomorrow I will do a stream with a sport event in the Fisherman Fishing Planet, which will be at the Lesne Villa and Nirren River, and we'll see how I do there. Hopefully the tips and tricks I do on that will help out a bit more. But if you're a beginner, try and do a few of the low level sport events. With Fisherman Planet you need at least, from what I gathered on this version, the free to play version, you're going to need at least 20 people competing. If not, the event will be cancelled. If it's the Fisherman Fishing Planet, there has to be at least a minimum of 10 people for the event to begin. If not, it will just be cancelled. But they can make you quite good credits. Let's just show you what you can get if you compete and if you place pretty high. You know, getting into first, second and third places is what most people will be aiming for, even for beginners. Doing these contests will help you get the extra cash, the extra credits, and obviously bait coin and maybe a free item, and they can be very helpful. A few other things to help all beginners is try and do a few of these challenges. Some of these are actually event ones at the moment. Like catching fish on barless tackle can be helpful. You get bait coins, and once you complete it the third time, you usually get, as you can see, free bait coins, and obviously it'll be a barless spinner. Doing the night shift event, challenge, if you complete it, obviously you get 1 bait coin for doing the first one, 2 for the second, and the third time you get 3 bait coins and a free cap or hat with a light, so you can actually fish with your light on at night times. if you go to, let's say, we'll go for mud water because I ain't done the mud water challenge. Now there's challenges to stay nights at a location or days at a location. The more days you stay, you get a few extra bait coins each time. Now obviously they want you to do 1 day, which you do straight away and you get a bait coin. Doing 5 days gives you 2 bait coins, and staying 30 days give you 10 bait coins. Let's just quickly check. I think we're good enough. So let's quickly go all the way down and quickly. Alright, I can get it wrong. So it's 3 bait coins for 5 days and a marker, boy, and 5 bait coins and a free item for staying 30 days. The only downside to staying at a location is the equipment you have, the durability will go down for each day you stay. Now I'll do this on a private, friends only, just in case, and we'll do this the quick simple way. Obviously with the loan costs what, 20 credits, so it will cost you a bit to stay an extra day. But what we'll do is we're gonna try and do this a bit quicker. So what we're going to do is go to the night time. Let's see, where is that? I just got a notification on. I'm absolutely fine. I'm just streaming, and hopefully the stream isn't being too bad. But yeah, I'm just doing a quick tutorials though. I hope my audio and explanation isn't too bad, but tomorrow I'll go over it a bit better. But yeah, so obviously we're on the night, and obviously we want to do 30 days pretty quick. Now this is going to cost a bit, obviously, because I've gone to mud water. So because I'm on the night, usually you'd have to wait time if it's during the day, but because it's night time, you do not have to wait to skip. So what we're going to do is we're now going to skip 24 hours to the next night time, and it's going to cost me 200. Now altogether for mud water, this is just going here and skipping all the way through 30 days, is going to cost me 7,000. Now anyone with beginner gear, I would recommend, if you're going to do this, keep your beginner gear on, because the cost for repairing your gear will be less than someone who's at level 50 or 65 or anything higher and having to repair that high gear, because it will cost quite a bit. So obviously the gear I've now got on is a level, what, 10, 12, maybe 20 gear, between that margin. So we'll show you I'll show you exactly how much repairing this gear will cost. Hopefully my boat and kayak shouldn't use durability on this location, because I'm not using them. And obviously we've got to 5 days, we've got a free buoy marker and free bait coin. Yes. Now obviously on the free to play version, which we're on, you don't get many buoys at all. But on the fisherman fishing planet, you're set with, I think it's 45 buoys right off the bat, if I'm not mistaken. Or something like that. But obviously the fisherman fishing planet, you also have the same challenges. Now obviously you can gain more buoys by doing these challenges, or you can actually pay for them. But for anyone who's doing obviously the free to play version and they do not want to spend money to get bait coins or buy packs, this is a way that actually helps you get obviously the bait coins. It's slow, but also helps you get a few buoys for free. at the same time. Now, usually I would fish during all this, but I hate mud water like a passion, so I'm skipping it. So we're gonna skip.
Unless if you want to use it for the catfish farm or even the
Yeah,
bowfin farm that you can do, that
yeah,
I have covered as well.
yeah,
So, hi everyone.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't introduce you to Dark Shadow Vamps. I've been on his streams a few times and helped him out with a few things. So he will be on the streams with me as well at times. Um, so if you have any questions for me or Dark Shadow Vamps, if you ever watch his channel, we're more than happy to help on any questions. Like I say, this is just a quick acknowledgement of a few tricks and tips. Now, obviously, if you're going to do 30 days normally as a beginner, you'd probably spend about what 8 hours maybe, and that's with just beginner starter gear, and that's to get enough to pay for it, then to skip the day, then you're having to fish again, and at some point you may run out of bait. So
Or you could do like I was just doing if you were tuned into my live play today. You just use nothing but straight lure fishing,
yes,
depending on what you're trying to go after.
yeah. Um, Also, depending which map you're on, depends what fish you're able to get a bit quicker and a bit easier. Obviously, lure fishing is one way, so you don't spend on bait coin at all. Bait coin, I mean, spend money on getting bait for your fish. Just say I'm trying to go all the way up to this one. Come on, I can't remember what day I'm on now. 17, ain't I? Yeah, 17. Right. Day 18. We'll try and get through this one real quick. Um, Now, saying that, I think the next event is actually going to be St. Patrick's Day. That's the next event I think that comes up. The St. Patrick's Day one.
Yep, it is.
So that will be very interesting. I know on Mudwater, and I'll quickly go to the spot for Mudwater, where you can get the two, if I remember rightly, it was two of the St. Patrick's Day fish. Obviously, you'll have to use drunken. You can use the bully grasshoppers, which will always get the bully bass. No, the rowdy bass. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up a bit. Now and again, you can get the leprechauns, but, and I'm saying this as a but, you will have to get rods, which obviously I have shown. Mostly the float rods that I have will get you the leprechaun fish. It will be a fight, but you will get them in. Obviously, with the rods I've shown you, you will not have it up to max drag. If you had a reel which is less than the rod, you can have your max drag all the way up. But then kind of depends on your line slightly as well, because not it'll snap and you'll lose the fish and the bait. But that's my personal opinion, and for me, it's how it's worked and happened. But there are a few other rods you can get and a reel which will just handle the fish perfectly with no problem. But for this location for them, I would use a float rod. Feeder doesn't seem to get them too much of the times. And we're almost at day 30, and because I'm now at day 30, I'm going to skip to the morning. Yay! So we've got 5 bait coin and an X series spinnerbait. Whee! Right. And it's gone to my home storage because my backpack's full. That's fine. Right. Now, let's see. Go a bit faster actually. Now in the marker over there, another location, and just in case you can't see, I will get the rod out. So that location around there, even behind the reeds, is where the rowdy bass and sometimes the leprechaun fish, if I remember rightly, they're on this map, will be. Obviously, using a float rod, your float will move with the current. So usually I cast as far as I can over there and let it drag all the way to about this spot here, reel in and recast. Usually you won't always have to recast during that event, but that is a location for them, which, if I remember rightly, I still have marked on the map, which is the leprechaun fish, and that was actually with the bully grasshopper. Shocking. But yeah, they will be at that location during that time. Right, now for one of the events, which unfortunately I will not be taking part in on the Fisherman Fishing Planet, will be, I can't remember the name of it. What's the name? It's the one to do with Rocky Lake. I'll have a quick look at it, see if I can find it. Oh, I was actually surprised I only had to fix the one item. But still, it's 1,646 credits. Still expensive. And as you can see, even though it's not all beginner stuff, it has gone down in durability quite a bit. So next time I go fishing, I'll probably have to repair all them for when I get to it. So the damn it, the tackle box, the rod case, the jacket, and the stand will all have to be fixed. Probably next time I do a 30-day skip, or just a few days of a skip. Let's see now so the 1x1 amateurs. Now obviously this one is insect and worms. I'll show you the best location that I found for fishing at Rocky Lake for the contest, and this works especially well obviously in amateurs. I've not tried it in anything that isn't an amateur because I'll probably lose to be honest. There is another one for that location, and I think it's live bait, which I'll also show location for them. Let's make sure I've got them. Right, so I'll go to Rocky Lake, which this is actually going to cost me to do, but I don't mind. I've grinded enough levels, so I've got enough cash to show. And it's bad. Right, it's now loading, and when it decides to load, right, and we'll do this in friendly only and that location. Right, just make that a spot bit. Right, so obviously when you come into a match, if anyone's done this, you'll see, well obviously it says registered opening. That will then say join. Obviously you hit the join, you'll hear it sound like a sports event starting, and the time will start. You obviously select one of the two locations, and obviously I've chosen Fantastic Fishing. That's the location I fished, and personally I've done pretty well fishing at for both parts of the contest. Now what I'll do is I'll make sure, so what I'll do is I'll skip forward a bit just so you can see the better weather condition. Hopefully it'll be better weather condition, which it is. So what I look for is obviously around here, just in case, and you're looking to aim for this spot around here when it comes to using worms and insects and insect and worms. Now obviously I try and have, oh god, that's a bit too stop there, and usually obviously I've zoomed in, usually it shouldn't take too long. Oh, we had a nibble. It would have proved my point if that took in the bait straight away. Obviously we're in a down peak at the moment, so the fish might not bite too much, but usually when they try to bite,
You can never be surprised when they bite.
yeah. Now obviously with the weather condition you should sometimes see the fish at the bottom. Now usually the fish will be about just where the tip of my rod is. You'll usually see the fish around there, nibbling at the bait, and obviously because the way that live streaming is on the console, I can't see. Oh, here we go, as you see. So you can see the fish is nibbling. Now we do one of two things: it'll either take it or it'll run away, and it's taking it. And that is all you'll be doing. And literally that spot will work perfectly all the time. Even if you get a trophy, just keep fishing that spot, you'll get the fish. Now, when it comes to the live bait, unfortunately, I usually use, I think I use my feeder, if I remember rightly. No, I'm wrong, I use my float. And obviously, it is then I use, when I find out the list, I use small minnows. And then I try and aim for either the spot around there, which is 100 feet out, or aim a bit close to the logs. Now, obviously, I really can't see the fish that well, so I'm going to go for my usual 100 feet out spot when there's no lag. I should just be spot on. It'll be the same depth, or length I should say. So I'm just a little bit over. I'll reel it into about 100. I should hopefully have them take it pretty quick. Hopefully. Obviously still we'll be in a downtime. Me proving this fact won't work. Maybe. But again, you'll see the fish usually around in that section there. But not all the time. So hopefully this kind of helps people when fishing this location. Unfortunately I won't be able to show this location if my character on the Fisherman Fishing Planet goes over the level cap for this spot. I think the actual fishing can be 18 for the other one, so I might be able to do the other baits at this location. Yeah, there's a fish there. No, it's ran off. But like I say, that spot is usually perfect. You can use the other spot with the small minnows, but it sometimes doesn't always have too much biting activity. You could just try using the worms at that location and it might work perfect, but
The other best spot for if you're going to do on bait fishing like what he's doing right now is if you spawn over where you can cast in front of the waterfall. I tend to get a lot of bites off the small minnows and
yeah,
even on the probably the best live bait or live baits that you can really use probably the spawn eggs or any of these salmon eggs will definitely work on the trout.
yeah,
The small minnow will give you the variety of different several different fish there in Rocky Lake.
yeah. Now obviously what I've forgotten to mention is I'm using a 2L hook, so it will mostly go for big, well, I'll mostly get bigger fish. If you use a 6 hook, you are likely to get more bites on fish and, you know, more variety, you know, small
Especially
and
for the
big.
trophies and the occasional unique.
Yeah. But these are the two spots which I usually fish for tournaments, especially for beginner levels. Um, and these, like I said, these for me have worked. Um, but they're also spots I fish when I'm actually at this location fishing, and hopefully getting the fish I need and want. And this one's going to leave it in it. Yeah, he ran away. So obviously at the moment, I now know at the moment my hook is too big for the fish. So in that case, what I'll do is I won't click that. Yeah, right. I'll reel it in. Now obviously you're going to notice down here there is some weeds, and usually people get. Oh, I actually overshot it. Usually what I do is about that spot is I lift it up and get it out. But I went a bit too quick. I can't see the screen that well. It's made it really small. So I'm going to put my 6 hook on, and obviously I'm using barbless. The reason why I'm using barbless is because you get a bit more cash for the fish you get, and you get a bit more experience as well.
I was gonna say a little bit more experience still.
Yeah. Obviously, because of the gear I'm using for a low level character anyway, you will get quite a bit of experience. Obviously, the more you go up, the less experience you will get. But if you're using low gear still, even if you're at a high level, you will mostly get a boost on your XP, but not as much when you're higher anyway. If that makes sense to you. Usually you get, I think it's about, we've got a fish on our net anyway. So obviously the fish are caught 12 XP. Anyone at level 6 might get 24, but because I'm a high level, I'm getting less experience. So obviously when you go up, you get a bit less experience. Sometimes not as much difference on the cash. But using barless, you get a bit more experience at the same time. But it's just obviously you don't want to be getting 100 experience each time for a fish, even though you're max level. So there's a bit of balancing on the experience at the same time. Right. So we'll try with a different hook. It's usually a 6 hook I use anyway, more than anything else than a 2 hook. Right. Throw out there. Way over. Bang. Now, just in case anyone doesn't know this, or may have noticed, the other difference on Fishman and the free to play is you can actually clip your float rods or match rods or telescopic rods as it is in the game, but they're mostly, in my eyes, and maybe in Vamps, float rods. You can clip them in the free to play version, but you can't clip them in the Fishman Planet.
No.
But obviously feeders you can clip on both. Yeah.
In the bottom rods.
Yeah.
The other bottom rods, but
Yeah.
do that.
And as you see, fish is on. Hear the words play the fish. You basically, when it's got the tension up, you will not reel, because as you see with the reel, it will flash light white or illuminate a white around the reel. If you don't reel, if you don't reel in the reel, if you don't reel when it's taking line or it's fighting, when it's flashing, and you just hold your L2, on this controller it's L2 on the PlayStation, all you're doing is playing the fish. If you're reeling at the same time, the fish will take line, but it also take more line quicker. If you don't, it's basically fighting against the reel and it's not taking the line as much, and it won't take it as quick, and it means you're playing the fish more because it's not able to take it as quick. If you're reeling at the same time, you're basically feeding it the line. And obviously with some people I noticed they'll sometimes get a rod, put too much on the drag, and the line snaps or breaks and they wonder why. So what we'll do is we'll cast out again.
As we have seen me do from time to time.
Yes, and obviously you've had to change your drag down, then we realise it's actually your line set up all wrong. And obviously this time I've casted a bit short, but it should be fine. Now every time I get a rod and I set one up, I always put it at the minimum, well, halfway on the drag. So when I fight a fish, I can work out about where I need my actual drag when fishing at a location. Somewhere here, I can usually maybe go with what, 3/4, maybe 2/3. I should have tested when I was fighting that fish, but I didn't. But 2/3, 3/4 should be fine. But I'll keep it at half and I'll try and reset the actual drag to the right drag, if that makes sense. And hopefully it does to people. If not, I'll have to explain it a bit better. Me explain it better. Yeah, I don't think so. Pardon me. But yeah, as you can see, the fish in the background in the line is actually nibbling and ran off again. In my case, that's a typical thing. But when you are playing, you will get days where the fish will not bite, even though you've done everything the same as always. So don't worry, it is a normal thing. You know, if you've gone fishing in real life, you know, I can say, even Shadow can say it, some days you'll fish, you'll use the exact same bait you might have used a day or a week ago, even months ago. The fish are just being picked and they just don't want to know. Some days it's like, okay, you don't want to bite, I'll give you a pass for a day and come back another day and hopefully catch something.
Yep.
Which usually does work. Sometimes it doesn't though. It usually takes me 3 days where I've had bad luck of fishing. 4th day, it's lucky charm. But they are fun days. Obviously, just to prove that, well, I should have brought my bigger fishing net, but I've used a smaller fishing net just so I could do the 10-day passing by, which does help. I really want to get these fish. There is a challenge where you catch and release fish. Obviously, if you're going to do the catch and release challenge, I will suggest come to Rocky Lake, bring a spinning rod and spin a fish till you've completed it the 3rd time, which I think is 150 fish you have to catch and release. If you want to make sure you release them, leave your keep net back at home. The only downside is you're not going to make any money. So you could bring it, fill your net, then keep spinner fishing till you've done the 3rd challenge. That is the other option as well. Fill your net, then keep fishing, and just release the excess fish. Yeah. It's good to get the bait coin, especially at a low level. Saying that, just by doing the spinner fishing, you've not spent money on food, which obviously I'm doing at the moment. You gain that experience and it's not cost you anything. Spinner fishing at Rocky Lake is probably one of the best places to go, especially low levels. The only problem is when you get to a certain level and you're spinner fishing, you're going to have to keep using the low level rod. Anything, I think it's past level 12 rod. I think it's a £20 rod or something near there. It's too strong for the fish. Same for the reel. And they keep playing with the bait and not taking it. Saying that I'm on the worst time. I should have kept it as an early morning. It would have been fine. But yeah, like I say, these are a few locations just to help people get the tournaments going a bit easier and make some extra cash credits and bait coin, maybe free gear. Even if you don't come in the top 3 spots, you still get a bit of cash or credits, however you want to see it as, just for coming in the top 10. So if you don't get in the top 10, then obviously you don't really make much, but you do make credits or cash from the fish you caught from the sports event. But then coming to location and fishing isn't a bad idea neither, because it's money in your characters, and you, like I say, you gain the experience as well, which is always a bonus and a plus at the same time, hopefully. And at the moment, I'm not able to prove any of my theories because the fish are not biting, which is not a good thing. Just bite, please, just. And of course, I've got the dragonflies looking at me now.
That was a pretty blue dragonfly.
Oh yes.
And he flew off.
Yeah, he certainly did. I think it's because I'm 3 feet short from the fish, they're not taking it as much. I thought it'd be fine. Just shows how much a difference a few feet can make as well. You know, bringing it closer to the logs, probably a good idea. But usually if I'm at 100 feet bang on, I'll get them, and I'm not getting them.
Another way to tell, especially if you're going to use live bait like minnows, is they start to kind of swim frantically because they're still alive when they're hooked.
Yeah,
So they'll be moving frantically before whatever takes them actually
yeah,
takes the bait and the hook. So if you're fishing with either the large or the small minnows, or even the shiner as well,
yeah.
that is how you can tell when you typically have a fish lingering around your bait.
Well, the best example for knowing that is fish when you fish pike, because when it's moving around and then stops, what was it? 3 seconds. If you count 3 seconds, it will then plummet. You've got the pike. All you have to do is just yank and reel. If I remember rightly, it's 3 seconds. Literally, once that bobber stops, if it doesn't move within 3 seconds, it's gonna go down. And, you know, you've got a pike on your hook straight away. It means I would have to set my rod to prove that quickly as well. But like I said, this is just a beginner's tutorial and guide, so hopefully it will help out any beginners at the same time. Hopefully I can.
But then if you want more advanced fishing, even for you advanced players, there's
Yeah,
other videos. You can always come to my channel and see what I'm doing.
yeah,
There's some pretty sure advanced
yeah.
stuff as well.
I will definitely show the
Another good
advanced stuff.
one is Zabby.
Yeah, there are other obviously YouTubers who show stuff. They do show things. Obviously, with them being more PC based, obviously they edit and cut things on their end for the streams or for their showings. Obviously, I don't have anything but YouTube to watch streams on, so I get a bit cut off on watching them if they were live streaming on another service. But hopefully, what I'm able to show people, and at the moment, I'm still proving that I can't. Come on, come on! I can see you there. Just take it, take it.
It's probably saying I see you too.
Yeah, I can see them. They're playing with it. Come on. You're gonna give up, ain't you? I think they've given up. If not, I'll have to just recast and go from there. But yeah, see, it's not just 3 feet short. 3 feet short. So I'm now about 30 feet. I lift up and I don't get hooked. Right, I will get it at the spot I need. throw out, land. Right. And of course I've over yanked it to one side, so it should just be fine. It's a bit out from what I like, but hopefully it will take. Now obviously when I'm fishing trout I'm using fluoroline mostly. I'm also using a fluoroleader. I don't need to worry about using a titanium because, you know, it's unlikely the trout's going to bite through the leader. And go on, plummet. Yep, there we go. I can drag up a bit. And we've got flying trout. And rainbow trout. See, just because I reset my distance, 100 feet, bang. And considering this is actually a poor time as well. No, I do not want to skip. I wanted to, yeah, see, the least peak time, and I'm still catching. In that location, I'm still catching that location. Saying that, it's the same for the pike when you're on another on St. Croix's map. No matter what the weather condition is, you can easily catch them. Which is really in 100 feet.
The same goes for most fish. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You can be fishing during even your non-peak times and you'll still hook. But if you're gonna go for your uniques, definitely be fishing in your peak time.
Yeah. Oh yes. Uniques are more known for being on their highest peak on the times for fishing.
Every now and then you encounter a unique,
Yeah.
especially if you're not expecting it.
Yeah. With certain rods, you will notice even during a certain peak, or even coming off the certain peak, sometimes you'll get a unique without realising it. I've noticed with one or two of my rods, I can get a unique 1 in 40. I'll always catch a unique on that rod. I think it's my Arden will always get a pike 1 in 40 chance. Well, 1 out of 40 pike I catch with the Arden, I'll get a unique. And that's at St. Croix, and that's one of the pike locations. And I'm only using one rod at that time. Which is,
I'm pretty sure if we were to take that to Emerald Lake on, the only two uniques I can think of would be the chain pickerel and the sauger. I think
yeah,
those are the only two pike uniques that you can catch.
yeah. But yeah, so that's the, hold on, waterfall? Aren't you sure there's a waterfall in Rocky Lake? Or are you thinking of Falcon Lake?
No, there's a waterfall. It's across from where you're at, though.
There's a
It's the
waterfall?
other spawn point. I forget what the name of it is, but there is a waterfall.
Um,
Yep, there you go. If you look over to the right hand side, there is a waterfall that is right there just beyond those rocks.
oh, alright, I never
If
really
you actually
noticed.
walk if you walk to the left, you can actually kind of see it a little bit better. Back and to the left.
If I'm going blind or the game's playing tricks on me. I bet it's got it on the information, hasn't it? No, and it doesn't want to
It's
tell me.
right beyond the rocks there. If you actually cast beyond those rocks, I have landed trophies and uniques beyond those rocks.
See you on about,
With the
yeah. I know when they go on about the you got the mission for the turtle spoon, you'll mostly be casting around here with the spinning rods. So yeah, during the tournaments I've not actually tried it myself, actually fishing this location for the tournaments, sport events I should say. But we will have to try that out. Probably at the spot where them fish biting over there would probably be a good spot. But yeah, like I said, the two spots I showed you for fishing, I've always caught. So like I say, all you're looking for is that bit there, and then the spot around there, 100 feet out, and that's a perfect spot for fishing. Like I say, depending on which one of the two spot events, like I say, insects and worms, and then the other one, I can't remember what the other one is actually supposed to be. I think it's still a 1x1, so that's the insect and worms. I know there is another one, I can't remember what that one's called. Let's see, can I find it? Can I find it quickly? No. No, that's the same type, but yeah, and that's the other one. Old Books Competition. Obviously, you have to use barless terminal tackle, which is the hooks. I thought it was this actual spinning gear or casting gear, but you can use the barless hooks. Like I say, use small minnows. You can probably use the worms and insects with the barless hooks, but I use the small minnows, and the contest can be pretty good. So yeah, if that challenge is on tomorrow, sometime within the weekend, I'll try and do it with the Fisherman Fishing Planet and show you exactly how well I can do at the locations that I've shown you. My rods will probably be slightly different because obviously my other character is a bit lower level, level 11. So like I say, you can do these contests pretty well. Like I say, try and do the amateur ones. Probably not that one because that's going to be too high. But yeah, Rocky Lake and Lesno Villa for low levels. Never River, I've not really done myself, which sadly I am going to be trying tomorrow. Hopefully, if I get the times just right and get back after work in time. I've not done the cheesy catfish one from Mudwater because me personally, I'm not that great at Mudwater. I have troubles with it. But Rocky Lake and Lesno aren't a bad one to do. Like I say, I'll show where the Lesno spot is. Well, spots which I fish on the map. But yeah, trying to think now. Oh yes, I don't think I mentioned that at all, did I? Yeah, I'll do that. Obviously, I mentioned for the hat you have to catch a certain amount of fish. Best idea is trying to do it at Lone Star Lake. Well, I'd say trying it at Lone Star Lake for the night. I think it's, yeah. See, like I said, I'll have to repair this gear. Still quite a bit of cash to pay. I can't remember if it was 50 fish you had to catch at night or if it was 100 at night you had to catch in total. But I would try doing it at Lone Star. Use the red worms. Yeah, use the red worms. Obviously, we've been at Lone Star. I'll quickly go there just show this. Pardon me. Oh, I went down. Right, and I'll do front one only. And we'll to the spot over the bridge. Now obviously on the Fishing Planet, and obviously the free-to-play Fishing Planet, there is this compost heap. The difference is, when you walk up to it on the Fishing Planet, which you used to do on this version as well, now they changed it where you can press triangle to interact with it, and you'll get red worms every single time. You get 25 red worms, if I'm not mistaken, every 24 hours. Now that's not 24 hours as in from when you've collected it, it's 24 hours on the game's side. So obviously for me, when it hits midnight, which is in the next 45 minutes, this spot will have reset. So whatever time it is for anyone else in the world, it will be reset exactly the same time. Let's see. Yeah. I can't think of anything else for any tips really for beginners. I say, when it comes to a rod, make sure your line is not bigger than the line weight of your rod, because your line will just snap. To make sure the reel matches, try and make sure the reel's got maybe a pound extra, 2 pounds, which will be fine. Obviously your drag just won't go as high. You can go a bit lower than obviously what your line can take. Well, your reel can go a bit lower on the max drag from your line weight, but obviously that means your drag can go up to max. And if you have it at max, and obviously the tension in the reel gets really high, your reel will degrade quicker. That is slightly the downside, especially if it hits the max on the tension part on the bars. So this is why I always do a bit more on my reel, just so it balances out everything just a bit. Obviously, and then you have all the other little bits, you know, the hooks, the leaders, either the cage or the float. I always put a leader on personally. Depending on what I'm fishing, depends on the type of leader I'm going to have, which is either fluoro or titanium. Fluoro is more for the trout. Yeah. Pike, gars, and there's a few others, you know, fish that have teeth. Because if not, there is a high chance, not all the time, but there is a high chance that they will just bite through that line, and they've gone with your bait or your, you know, spinners or, you know, jigs, and they will have gone with it. And if you spent bait coin on it and you lose it, you know, I personally have gone, you know, the hell, and I'm annoyed at myself because I put the wrong leader on. You can use a leader exactly the same as your line. You can use a leader a little bit less than your line, which is usually a standard thing which most fishermen go with. On the game I do, and as you can see, I've got a 7.9 fluoro leader on a 6 pound lead. Not lead, 6 pound line. I will get my English right at some point. What this can sometimes do is actually make your line, surprisingly, in the game mechanical wise, stronger. But don't overdo it, because your line will just go, well, just snap straight away. Because, you know, even though your lead is saying it's fine, and it's shown on your line, it's fine, your rod just snaps on the line itself, because the game's like, no. Once the fish has taken it, because the tension would have just gone too high straight away. Like I say, it only helps if it's a bit, not too much. Like I say, even on my float and my spin rod's exactly the same. But yeah, So that's the only things I can actually think of. Oh yes, also one thing, as you can notice, I actually have 2 licenses which I didn't realise, and this is the free to play version, by the way, guys. On the free to play version, you do not, and I'm going to say this, repeat, not need to buy the basic license. When I first played this, I thought I had to buy the basic license before I can buy the advanced license. It is not the case. You can just buy the advanced license. You do not need to pay out on the basic. And if you're going to get the unlimited license, do it on the advanced, and that's it. Just get the advanced unlimited license when you can afford it. Don't worry about the basic.
Every single live play that
Yeah.
you will find. I know I have said it. Les just said it.
Yeah.
Savvy and a few others will tell you do not get the basic license
Yeah. The only
because you are limited what you can keep and what you can take.
yeah.
So your best bet is just go straight after that unlimited because
Yeah.
then you can do your night fishing. You can keep all the fish that you get.
Yeah.
Minus in certain locations like your European locations and
Yeah.
European heat.
Yeah. Now, if you're on the fisherman fishing planet, you don't have to worry about grinding for Bitcoin because you pay cash. Now, for part of the tutorial, it will tell you to buy the basic license because it's going to give you the advanced license for free. Now, when it comes to the fisherman fishing planet, you can buy both if you want because it's just cash or credits. You know, it's not Bitcoin, so you're not really wasting buying both. But when it's the free to play version, just buy the advanced because I didn't look it up. I had family members who spoke about the game and I did not realise, because I didn't ask the question, did I have to buy the basic? Because obviously when I first saw it, I saw the Texas license, which I'm pretty sure is here. That was basic, and I thought I've got to buy the basic before I buy the advanced. No. So on my part, that was my mistake, and hopefully no one else makes that same mistake. Saying that, there
Now, on
is
one hand, because I did discover it, if you have the bait coin for it, if you actually go looking, especially on the free to play or the free download version,
yeah,
if you actually go to your licenses and if you scroll all the way down on the unlimited license or the advanced license, you can pay Bitcoin to have an unlimited time on that license. Now,
I'll quickly do this because it will
there's
show.
certain ones that are pretty good to do that with, especially if you want to grind at certain locations.
Yeah,
For example, Rocky Lake is one that you can always go to grind on. That's one location that I would definitely do that at.
yeah,
Emerald Lake is another one, especially if you want to make use of grind.
yeah,
But in other locations, I would not suggest it unless you have the Bitcoin to
yeah.
do it.
Now, obviously, I would choose Lesno Villa because obviously beginners will need to go there, and Bitcoin for it isn't that much on the unlimited. Um,
Yeah, I think it's the first three
yeah,
locations. The it's not that bad of a price.
no. Modwater, I wouldn't pay for the unlimited license. I wish I hadn't. Um, I wish I just used the cash to pay for it when I needed to go there because I really don't go there personally. Um, Emerald Lake, I do. Obviously, I've got the unlimited license there. Now, obviously, I've got grind and I'm waiting for the St. Patrick's Day event so I can get the unlimited license and the advanced for, St. Craig's Lake, obviously, Michigan, which is 600 Bitcoin. And I've only got 18. So, as you can imagine, I need to get a load of leprechaun fish. Obviously, like I said, Rocky
End
Lake,
up paying extra actual money and you buy Bitcoin
you could,
in
but
a bundle.
me as a person, I will not. Obviously, obviously, they are the prices. Obviously, when you've been to a fishing location, as you may see that there's a split screen of experience and cash. Obviously, the people who don't buy the premium on this version of the game, obviously you see on the left is what your experience is and your cash. Obviously, the people who've got premium, the right hand side, they'll show their experience and their cash. Now, on the Fisherman Fishing Planet, they have no split screen because that game is technically a premium game. So you're classed as a premium account straight off the bat. So you'll just see experience and cash, or Baitcoin if you get uniques. So obviously on the Fisherman Planet, this part here is not on the Fisherman Planet game, but you can get these packs from the shop, which will have, instead of premium, I think it's sports or something else, and you can buy the bits there. And obviously I think you could do the Baitcoin exchange, but one Baitcoin for 100 credits, it's not worth it.
Yeah, not worth it.
No. Now, obviously, if you're a low level, obviously it does not show up the tournament because I'm waiting for it to show up. When a tournament does show up, it is 20,000 to take part in. Now, for low level players, I'm going to say don't try entering it. But, I'm saying this, but, if there's a location you want to go to because you want to try your rod out and you think you can bring in the fish, like say it's St. Croix, and you want to bring pike in, but you're level 20 and your rod's are level 20, you think you can bring in a pike, which is up to £40 if it's a unique, but if you think you can bring the £20 pike and you want to try it, and the sport event says that location is on the tournament, and you're going to spend 5 days there, actual days, pay for the tournament because it unlocks it for you. All you have to do is pay for the travel cost there, and obviously the extra stay there, and you have access to that location for the amount of days that the tournament is there for. So if it's a 5-day tournament, you will have access to go there for 5 days, but you still have to be, at least you then don't have to pay the license for it. It's just the travel cost and the stay, and obviously your bait they need for it. Obviously when it comes to tournaments, there's 5 locations depending on the tournaments. I'm not sure if there's one where it does 6 locations, but there's 3 qualifiers, a semi, and then the actual final. So then 5 locations will be unlocked for anyone who enters that tournament. Like I said, it's 20,000. It might change depending on the tournament, but so far from what I've noticed, it's always 20,000. And yes, it is expensive, but you know, if you think it costs what, Michigan 8,000 3 days, you know, you've already paid for that, and for 4 money for 5 days worth of gaming. You know, you're getting more for your money's worth in that respects. Obviously, if you're going to do the normal events like Halloween event or St. Patrick's Day event, and there's, say, you need to go to Emerald Lake. Now, the only challenge there is a boat challenge, and you think, oh, I've got to pay for my license. No, you don't. All you have to do is travel there, get on the boat. Obviously, you may have, if you've got the boat, great, you can use your boat. If you don't have it, you rent the boat, and obviously it's going to flag saying you need a license. I'm going to say now, you don't need a license unless you're fishing, because obviously even in the game it says boat fishing is forbidden. So as long as you do not put your rod in that water and you do not fish, you can use the boat to do the challenge. Which is, luckily it doesn't say we're going to charge you or fine you whatever it is for that violation on that location. Thankfully they have not put in a thing saying if you get on the boat you then are going to be fined. Luckily you can go to location, get on the boat, do the event as long as you're not fishing, and then leave the location if you want to leave.
Now, if you
The cheapest
to
place
rent
for the
boats?
boats is obviously Emerald Lake. I think the most expensive place, I'm not at their locations, I'm going to say is probably the Marin River is probably going to be the most expensive for the boats. I can't get there to prove it or disprove it, but because it's the highest level location, that's probably where the boats are going to be the most expensive. But by that point, everyone should have at least, I hope, been able to get a cheap boat or kayak for that location.
Oh, that's if you get one of the DLC packs.
Yes. I know during the Halloween event you can get a free kayak. I wish I was able to have done that challenge, but unfortunately it wanted me to spend Baitcoin to get a few of the gears. Well, spinner bits, and just I was hoping I'd get one of the items I needed for free, but it never showed up, and I didn't get enough Baitcoin to get it, so I could get the free boat. But saying that, certain events, obviously, when I get over, it's like left cornfish. You're going to get Baitcoin, and when you can get to the third one, actually that's just before I even get to the second. Irish bass jig, and that's for when I did the second. For the third, as you can see with the ghost pike, now that's Halloween. If I get another 100 ghost pike, I get a 5 phoenix, which if I'm not mistaken is a match rod. If I'm not mistaken, please. Yeah,
Phoenix is a match rod.
yeah. So you think if well, you're able to do it with, you'll be using mostly spinner gear anyway, and you'll say level 12, and you get a phoenix. You're looking at something that's at level 23 or 26 rod. Now, obviously, when you get the rod, now don't quote me on this because I might be wrong, so don't quote me. But if you wanted to get rid of the rod, you'll get Baitcoin. Now, if you wait till the end, a bit after the event, you'll get more for it. Just to prove that, now, obviously, when I first got the glasses, when I'm actually in the right section, it was, I think I said it was about 24 Baitcoin, didn't I, for my glasses, the Halloween ones, if I remember rightly. The price they actually now go for is 574 Baitcoin, which is pretty much quite a lot, especially considering how much you would pay for. What was it? So yeah, I would say they're almost about, well, say it's about almost 600 Baitcoin. That's £24. That's 24 quid I've just saved. That's if I wanted to get rid of the glasses. Now, obviously, I'd have to wait till the next Halloween event to maybe get the glasses again. So what I might do is wait till this year's Halloween, get the glasses, and then sell the excess glasses, and I've saved myself straight away £24. But then again, it might be like you can only do it once, and that's it out of the whole thing. Even the polarized glasses, they were going for what, 2 Baitcoins, I think. 24 Baitcoins now, and last month it was what, 4 Baitcoin. So the price of them are going up a bit because obviously the event's passed, which is hooray helpful. So I've got quite a few of the event baits still, well, ground baits. Obviously a couple of the, clown frog was from the St. Patrick's event. Dead mice was from the Halloween. Same for pig's eye, rotten minnows. A couple of others. Now, obviously, everyone's going to be wondering slightly what this is. Anyone who's not actually fished will be like, well, what's this? Well, this is where you make up your ground mix. Now, I know when some people go there, they'll just go up to, which obviously this will be, is also your ground mix. They'll go up there and go, oh, I'll just throw a bag in there. Well, you're mostly wasting ground mix. This lets you actually make a mix. Now, obviously, all you have, I don't think I can actually equip this joiner, can I? No, can't actually do it, but I can show you. So obviously all you need, too much, is up to 10 to make a percentage for what water gets added to make a mix up. You know, if you wanted to have, I think you can have up to about 3 bags in a mix. So obviously for each 3 bags you can add at least 1 aroma for every, yeah, so for every 10 parts of the mix you can add 1 part aroma. It'll be easier if I show this actually than actually saying it, but I will show this a bit better. And what then happens is it'll make up this mix, which will take 15 seconds. Unless you're premium, then it'll take 5 seconds. These can help if you're using your feeder for tournaments or events, sport events. But usually make them up first before you join the event, because you've just saved yourself some time making the mix and wasted time waiting for it to be mixed up and made up. Because all you then do is you go to, obviously it'll be a feeder, then you'll go down to your feed and, you know, it'll be above the ground bait. You'll equip it. Obviously every time you've casted, you'll then reload a set amount into it. Now, it'll be a small amount, but your character can also throw it. Unfortunately, it's about 7 grams or something like that, which your character will throw in, and he takes about the same amount of time it takes to make a mix. So every time you've thrown one, he'll automatically start making it in his hand before you can either change your rods, which can be annoying. The distance is about 65 feet if I remember correctly, but if you have the catapult, which you can get from events, I've not seen it that you can buy in a shop yet, that can double the distance up to 130 feet, maybe a bit less on the distance, but it's at least a good 130 feet it could be thrown. Unfortunately, it still takes the same amount of time to load it as it does to make it in your hand. But you do use less. You use half the amount in the catapult than you do thrown in your hand. And obviously whatever you have for your feeder cage depends on how much is actually loaded into it. Pretty sure that will cover most of the basics, but like I say, I'm pretty sure we've said this in a few of the videos, but yeah, when you can get a tackle box, get one. I wouldn't go for number 7 because all you're going for that is just extra ground bait. The level 16 one's pretty good. I wouldn't go for the level 17. I would go for the level 21. Like I say, it will be a bit of ground, but this helps you take extra items with you. Obviously, you'd have the normal standard 1 rod and reel case. Well, to take 1 rod and reel. I wouldn't buy this level 3 one because, you know, you'll get to level 12 pretty quickly unless you're going to be doing the events or sport events. Then I will go for the hobby gear, because then you can take an extra rod with you before you get the triple rod case. After that, it is going for the next cases that come available. When it comes to the last, well, the Volt 7 is no different from the Super Volt 7.6, because as you see here, 7 rods, 7 reels. Now the descriptions say it's only supposed to be 3 reels, which is incorrect. And obviously,
Mistake on the creator part.
yeah, and this it shows 7 rods, 7 reels, but in the description it says it's supposed to be 6 reels. So you don't need to go for the Super Volt when you go for Volt 7. Unless you like the colour and want the design, it's up to yourselves. But personally, I'd keep with the Volt 7, as you can see. At the moment, I'm actually using the triple case because I'm trying to show how we're going to beginners can use lower gear and why. Obviously, when you get the free version, you get obviously a feeder for free, and you get a net. And if I remember rightly, it's the Fishman. Is it the S Plus? No, it's not the S Plus. It's the M. Yeah, Fish Hut M or something close to that. That is pretty much a good fish net to have. The next one I would go for afterwards, personally, I would say I would go for the Fish Cabin S, but there's no real point because if you wanted to go to Lone Star and you wanted to get the first monster, you might not be able to keep in your net. So I'd wait and get the Fish Cabin M, because once you get that, you can then start going for a few of the monster fish. Now, before you do decide to go for the monster fish, I am going to really badly suggest this in a good way. And obviously, go to the location you want to go to. So we'll use Lone Star as the good example. So I'll bring up all the fish. Now it's going to bring straight away the biggest and heaviest fish. So make sure when you have the net that before you go to location, that the fish, so say because it's obviously £13, that fish will fit into your net, which obviously you need the 15.5, because obviously the max single fish weight is what you're looking for. Because if you went for the £11 one, that fish will not fit in, and you would have to say bye bye to the fish and the cash you would get for it, but you will at least still keep the experience. Because I did that by accident. Yeah. Well, I've had it where I first did it, I was like, why can't I keep the fish? And then I realised I had the wrong size net. Now, just because in the description, once it comes up, just because in the description, where is it? Right, just because it says £11 fish doesn't mean it's going to be that way. It could be more or less. So always assume the fish might be more, but always check the stats page to make sure. If somebody's caught a fish which is double the weight of what it says, make sure you got a net to hold that fish, because if you get the big fish or a bigger fish than what it says and what you're expecting, your net can hold it. Plus you can also fish and have more in your net. So every time you do level up, check what your net is and think to yourself, is it worth it? Isn't it? Obviously after, what was it, £66. Next one I'd go for afterwards would be a decision between the level 26 and 28. If I remember rightly, yeah, I went for the level 26 one, which was the Gary Scott Fish Fort extra small. I could have waited, but I used that Emerald Lake, and I've also used that St. Croix Lake. Luckily I didn't catch any uniques at the time when I was using that one, but I was using the Fish for M when I did start catching uniques. Thankfully I only needed one level up at the time, so I got that, because obviously I'd only been at the location for one day. I was like, I need one more level to get my net. Got that net, grinded the levels, and I'm now up the net I'm using. The next net I'll go for is probably the level 51. Then I'll work for the level 55. Rod stands. Rod stands are very helpful, especially when you're using feeder for the first time and you've not used a feeder. During tomorrow's sports event, I will show you how I use my feeder and how I know when I've got a fish on my hook a bit easier. If you're not used to using a feeder on the game, using rod stand will help. The single shot is pretty good, but also so is the dual stand. I would get bells for your feeders as well, because it will help you just in case you decide you need to grab yourself a drink. Because if you've got your controller on you and you're in the kitchen or whatever and you can hear it, you can hook the fish still. Let's see, waistcoats. Every time you get access to an extra waistcoat, apart from the bait coin one, unless you've got a ton of bait coin from the sport events or the tournaments, always go for your next. Yeah, always go for the next best waistcoat that you can, because it really does help out a lot. But for oh yes, because obviously for this practical use, at the moment I can only hold 51 items. Well, tackle gear anyway. If I had my other gear on, I would be able to hold. Actually, I should be able to show you without changing any of the items over. If I had my best gear on, let's put that one on, that one on. Don't need to worry about the rods and the reels. I can now hold 156 items, and that's because of my tackle box and because of my waistcoat. So every time you do go up a level, waistcoat is a must, apart from the bait coin ones, because heavens forbid how expensive they are. But they are helpful. Now I'm going to put back on my low level tackle box, and if I remember rightly, the low level waistcoat, because I will do some videos using just beginner gear, which is going to be fun. Like I say, now even though I say about bait coins, unfortunately barless hooks all cost bait coin. The only one you don't really need to worry about, because you can get for free, is the barless hook 1, or it's the 1.0. It might be both of them, and that's from doing, when it changes over, missions. Obviously a few of these are, yeah, so barless hook 1.0, and that's for doing the Rocky mission. I don't know if there's another one. You know, hook 5s, but they're not barless. You know, you can keep them or you can get rid of the normal hooks. I actually, you know, gathered them all up. I had the whole set of the normal hooks because it didn't cost me. It didn't cost bait coin. But when I started getting the barless, I was like, right, and I got a bit more experience. Obviously, you're going to get a few lines, you know, casters, spinners, gear, and even baits for free by doing these challenges, especially when you get up high levels. You know, even carp hooks. I don't think they come in barless at all, but they're good for obviously a carp rod, and that's the only thing they go on is the carp rod, the carp hooks. Let's see, is there anything else? Anything else? Trophies aren't useful. Obviously, you'll get certain. You do a certain measure for certain baits for certain items to get certain monster fish. Unfortunately, until it gets to Halloween, we cannot prove or disprevent us up that you can get the Halloween fish, well, the monster fish again during Halloween times, which unfortunately we've got to wait to be able to say for certain or not.
From
Again,
what I understand, you should be able to, but again, like he said,
yeah. Well, we've been
it's
able,
up in the air.
yeah. Unfortunately, we've been able to disprove that during, you know, after you complete it, that you can do them again. You can't until further notice. So we're going to hopefully prove or disprove if during the Halloween event you can get the monster fish. If you can't, then it's only a one time. I know on the Fisherman Fishing Planet you can reset your character back to 0, well, back to level 1. Unfortunately on this, because I was considering it today, to reset my character back to 0. Unfortunately, it's not there. So I have to do the whole thing from where I'm at. because if I was able to do it from zero, well, level 1, I'd be able to prove what I've done at the same time. But yeah, can't think of anything else. We'll go on about Texas rigs some other time, and jigs. Ground baits and meths I'll be able to go on about a bit better. Same for PVA bags. That's to even spot. I haven't even done the spot rod yet myself. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've covered all the basics of certain things. But yeah, during events, where is it? It's down here. You can get stuff like fireworks. Obviously, events will repeat again. Try and keep them as much. Try and keep the items you have as much as possible. Now, obviously, on the free-to-play version, when you expand, yay, your storage space, you have a discount at the moment, and it's still a discount on the free-to-play version. So I would always go for the 200 extra storage space because it's only 300 Baitcoin, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, but 300 Baitcoin, that's insane. Yes, I know. It's tempting to buy other things, but if you save up to get the extra storage space, it is very helpful, especially when certain events come on. Now, I'm hoping during the St. Patrick's Day event, the fish you catch will be worth Baitcoin. Please let it still be Baitcoin, because by catching the leprechaun fish and the body bass, I can get enough Baitcoin in to get myself extra storage space. On the Fisherman Planet, that is actually still 400 Baitcoin, but that's because obviously when you catch uniques, you get Baitcoin. Depending how much Baitcoin you get depends on the type of fish and the size of the fish of the uniques. Yeah. So that's why on the Fishman it's still at normal price and there's no discount. Luckily for the free version, they put and kept the discount. I thought it was only limited time. It's this set price all year round so far, and I've not seen it change. So if you're going to get anything with Baitcoin first, apart from the odd one or two barless hooks, maybe a spinner, well, barless spinner, unless you can get it from the event, the sports event, save your Baitcoin up and get that 200 storage space. Don't buy the other three, it's not worth it. Go for the 300 Baitcoin because it's 200 storage space and it helps out.
Save the Baitcoin for is to also get more marker buoys, because sometimes you want to mark where you caught like your uniques.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna save Baitcoin, also save it for that as well.
Well,
because it is easy to run out of marker buoys pretty quickly.
yeah. Obviously, with the free to play version, you don't get many to start with, but if you do, like I say, go to the location, you can either fish, then skip to next day, or you could do what I did with mud water, skip to the night and keep skipping if you've got a load of credits. Don't do it if you haven't got a load of credits, because you may end up being bankrupt or have no cash at all, and you have to start grinding the cash. But you can just do it up to 5 days, get that boy. I keep pronouncing that wrong. Marker. I'll call it that because it'll be easier. Skip to 5 days, get that free marker, and then you go to a different location and get your free marker. Like I say, Lone Star and Lesney Villa, pretty good to go to the 30 days because it doesn't cost that much. I think to repair your starter gear is about, I think it was what, 300, I think I mentioned, wasn't it, before?
I think so.
Yeah, might be 500. We'll go with 600 just in case, because obviously the durability on your normal clothing gear deteriorates for each day. Luckily, your rods do not deteriorate unless you use them, thankfully. But like I say, beginners do go to, like I say, Lone Star, Lesney, even Mudwater, even if it's just for one day. Skip all the way to D30. Obviously, yeah, Mudwater, which you can check before you completely go how much a location is going to cost you just for going up to 30 days. Rocky Lake, I would prefer fishing it because you think if you can make, I would say, 1 or 2 thousand each day, by the time you get to day 30, you've already made that back just for going there in total for 30 days, and it'll repair, you know, how much you've used your rods, your reels, your baits, unless you're using spinners and casters, you know, and even the repairs of your clothing, you know, your stands, your tackle box, your waistcoat, it's paid for that. When you get somewhere past, probably past Emerald, no, on Emerald it'll be fine. The thing is, when you get to somewhere like Everglades, that's then when the cost will hit, because you probably will want.
I think Naharan is where it first starts hurting. Because Naharan is the first double digit 5 that you will get to, and that's where it will start kind of smarting on the credits.
I think Narrow River will be fine because it's only 500. Well, obviously, if you're fishing each day, it depends on the fish you go for, really.
Now, if you just target specifically gar and the catfish, you could probably easily make it. But
Well, that's if you got premium. If you haven't got premium, going for catfish and gar, you're going to fill up your net. You'll fill up your net, but not make much cash.
pretty quickly, and it depends on the net that you have too.
Yeah. Um, so depending on the net and depending if you're premium or not, and obviously, like I say, depending if you're going for gar or not, or even catfish or not, Naren could hit. Yeah, well, Naren could hurt you, or the canal. Yeah, I'd say probably the canal is probably when it will hit you, because obviously the canal is the worst place to go to. Well, for me personally, it's the worst place. Tiber River, you should be fine because you can easily fish trout, and you can use your feeder. So making cash at the same time isn't a bad thing for that. Obviously, you go there going to a location for the first time, you get a bit of cash anyway. So there's also that as well. But yeah,
Another good thing to do, especially for you beginners that are just now starting, is also take a look, and he can actually show you. If you actually look in the menu on the side of any given location, it tells you fish species. So if
no,
you
I'm
actually know exactly what you're gonna go after,
yeah,
go take a look at their what lures they will take to, or what baits
yeah,
that they will take to, because some will take to some of the same baits, like your
yeah,
catfish and your gar will take to cut baits, so
yeah,
take the cut bait with you.
yeah,
um the minnows will cover quite a few, including the bass, the catfish as well, because they are predators,
yeah,
even the gar, and the crappie. So,
yeah,
again, just, take a look at what baits that you should take with you,
yeah. Um,
and even your lures, because it helps.
yeah. Also, because obviously with the description of fish, it can say the size of what the fish can get up to. Now that's not just that location; that's in all the locations. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to go for, we'll say the American shads. So obviously, Narrow River. We'll go to the stats page. Like I say, go to the fish. when I get this going. So it's Narran River. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. So Narran River. But we want to look for American shads. So we want to see what size the American shads can get up to. Now we know what the weight of a fish at the location is. So obviously by the time you get into Narran River, you should have, hopefully, you should have a net that will go in that net anyway. The only thing you don't know is the amount you're going to make. So all you can do, go there, catch a few of them, and see what the cost is. You might end up deciding it's not the American shad you want to go for because you're not making anything from it. You might decide to go common carp. That will definitely be the fish you want to go for. But then you think, right, to make that money, you need to have a bigger net to hold that fish. Obviously, like Vamp said, long-nosed gar and flat cathead. Now, if you have premium, I'd say go right ahead. But, I'm saying a big but, look at the weight that they can get up to 33 pounds. If you haven't got the net to hold that fish, all you're doing is throwing that fish back in. You'll get the experience, but you'll be throwing that fish back in. Long-nosed gar, fine, 20, and that's unique, so that's 21 pounds. So almost 22 pounds worth of fish, which will be a bit of a fight. Now with the long-nosed gar, I suggest having the titanium leader on you just in case, because it might, I'm not going to say it will, might cut through your line, and then you've just lost your hook and whatever else is part of it if you haven't got the leader on. When I get to the other side, and it's not going to show the monster fish.
The fact that all the American locations have monster fish. So also take a look at how big those monster fish can get.
Yeah.
Because the outer gar weighs a bit more than just a unique long-nosed gar.
Yeah.
You definitely want to make sure that you have a location at any given location.
Yeah.
Check those monster fish because they can get pretty weighty. I made
Yes.
that mistake when I was in the Everglades. I did not have the right size keep net to even keep the pterotarpon. And because I have VLC keep nets, I obviously have that size now. But definitely make sure that you have
Yeah.
check your weights and make sure that you have a keep net.
Yeah. Now, obviously, as anyone who was watching while Vamps was saying that, obviously, as anyone can see, there is no elder gar name on there. But because it would be the highest weight fish because it's a monster fish, just go to all, and as you see, it come up, and obviously the elder gar can get up to 44 pounds. And obviously, this stats bar show the highest out of 100, weight. So the highest anyone's caught the elder gar is a 44-pound fish, which is very heavy. But like I'd said, before you go for any of the monster fish, make sure you got the net to hold the fish. But at that point, I'd say make sure you got the rod, the reel, and the line that can take that fish. Obviously, anyone who's an actual fisherman will know how they want to have their rods and reels set up, and they'll know how to do their rods and reels anyway. Anyone who doesn't, you can probably bring that elder gar in. Unfortunately, I would have to retest this with my other account. If I remember rightly, you can just about, I'm saying just about, bring it in on a £20 line. Just.
You can. I have.
Yeah.
It's a fight. You'll
Yeah.
definitely get a good fight, but it is possible to bring it in on a 20-pound line.
Yeah.
Now, if you're like me right now and you're gonna grind in certain spots until you can actually get
Yeah, you
10.
can. Because if I remember rightly, how the test lines are known is whether the test says so. £20 test. A £20 test will actually take a £40 fish. This is if I remember what I've been told correctly. Even though it's a £20 test, it can take double its own weight. Well, double the weight of its test on a fish. Um, Obviously, when you have it on the reel, depending on your reel, it depends what your drag setting will be. If I used an £18 max drag, you can have a bit higher than a £22 max drag. Unfortunately, without actually having the fish on the lines, I can't really show the difference. But yeah, I would say depending how you have them set up, depends what your drag will be set up. Obviously, if your reel's lesser than your line, you can have a bit more drag. If your reel is more than your line, you have to have your drag down, because if not, it will just break. Fortunately, the only way to really prove that is seeing people who start off and seeing their lines break every 5 minutes, and tell them exactly how to sort that problem out. Usually, like I say, always have your drag around about halfway. If it's too high up, drag down. If your line flashes, even for a second, drag it down straight away, because if not, you will lose that, and it will snap. Now, anyone who looks at your challenges, hold on, let's go over to here. I have seen that there are a few hidden challenges. Now, I don't know if you know this, but breaking your rod is a challenge. Breaking your reel is also a challenge. I do not want to know how many times you have to break your rod and your reels. I want to do the challenge, but I don't want to at the same time. So if needs be, at one point I might get some very weak rods, get them to break, or one of them to break, repair it and get them to break it again, to see what we actually get for breaking them. Same goes for the reel. I won't be happy. Like I say, doing these challenges can be very helpful. Now, the long caster, you'll mostly get that a lot easier by using a feeder. Yeah, I think I got mine by using my feeder because,
Your bottom rods, you can get more of a longer cast.
yeah.
And it also depends on what kind of line that you have too.
Well, for the distance, it depends on your float and the weight of your bait. Obviously, the lighter the float and the bait, the slight less distance you'll get. The heavier your bait and float, the slight further distance. So it's obviously more. You can obviously do a lot more with your feeder because it's more weight-based rod anyway. Obviously, when it comes to your line, yes, it does come to your line as well with your rod. Obviously, depending on the line you have, it goes. You can have more mono than anything on any of the reels. Then it's braid, then it's fluoro. If I'm not mistaken, because of I'm not exactly sure how it's worked out.
I think it was mono or braid is how it scales.
I don't know.
I have to test that, but I do believe that I think fluoro is in between both.
Right, hold on. I've got. I don't have £6 test, do I? No. And I don't want to use Baitcoin to do a proven fact. We'll have to test it at some point. Hang on. That's my bro. That's close enough. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use it. Oh, what does that say? Hardy ha ha. Yeah. It's obviously what is it? 5 or 6. Okay. I know there's a difference of 2. No, it goes mono braid than fluoro.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was right about that. Obviously, if I tried using a stronger test than what my rod can take, as you'll see at the top, the line is too strong for the rod. There's a risk of damage. The risk of damage is going to be more on your rod than anything else. It will snap the line, but your rod will take damage, and I think the reel takes damage as well, a lot more.
It does.
I've not personally done it because I don't really want to break my rod or reel, even though I need to do it for a challenge, and I don't want to do the challenge. Could you imagine just casting and going, I'm doing this just for a challenge? The amount on your repairs. But if you are going to break your rod and reel, I will suggest going for low rods and low reels.
I would just start with a basic
Yeah,
level one rod and just go. If you need to snap,
yeah.
snap.
Um, if not, just use the basic rod till it breaks, repair it, and do it again. Yes, it will take a bit of time if you just wanted to get the fish at the same time. Just let the durability go. It's fine. Now, I will say this: when it comes to your line, because I've heard a load of people say, "Oh, when your line gets to halfway, throw it and remake a new line." No, you really don't. It's
10%
just a percentage
more.
of how the durability percentage. That is what you're seeing. Obviously, it's the same for the reel. It's the same for the rod, which you can see there. And if I can get onto the line itself, you'll see durability. Like Vamp says before I did, when it gets to 10%, then change it. Now, if you know you can have a fight with a fish, but say it's a unique pike, we'll go with that. But the fight you had made it go down by 20% on durability. When you hit 20% on your line itself, after you've caught your last fish, decide, are you going to risk fishing, maybe catching a fish which will take 20% durability, or change it. I've usually risked it all the way down to 10%, then I change it. Only yourselves will know if you can bring in that fish or not. If you're fishing from the shore and you're like, right, I'm going to fight this fish, but then you're like, I'm not going to bring this fish in, but you're at like 2% and you've got a rod stand, put it down on the rod stand and let that fish go, because you won't lose. Pardon me. You won't lose your hook. You won't lose. Well, you'll lose the bait, obviously. You won't lose the leader unless the leader needs to be replaced. But you also won't lose the cage or the float, depending on what you're using. Same for like the spinning casters. Um, there is a slight trick, obviously, so you don't always have to replace your leaders. Is you take your bait off, you take your hook off, then you do the leader. Fine, there is a chance that it'll say, oh, this leader was too damaged, it's been lost, but by doing it that way, it reduces the chance of it having to be thrown and lost. But if you decide, oh, I'm going to take the reel off or the line off, say bye to the leader, because you'll probably lose it. If you fish generally, everyone will take the bait off, the hook off, then trying the best to take the leader off. Not all the time. Not going to guarantee that your leader is always going to be taken off with these, but it does help, and you can get a bit more use out of it. Do I have a good enough example? Yes. See, I've got three 41 pound because I accidentally took the wrong one with me each time. But 41 pounds. I've got three of them because they're from the three rods I had. So I've got three of them, and I've got them all taken off, all at different percentages. So it can be done. I've got to try and see if I can get one off at a red. That'll be interesting. But yeah, I can't think of any other beginner questions actually. Feeders, PVs, Wagler. I'll probably explain a few of these. Yeah, drunken worms, body grasshoppers.
There's questions that neither of us can ever fully answer. There are other YouTubers out there.
Yeah.
One in particular that I actually saw it falling from, especially when it came to trying to figure out, how many times you can catch a monster fish, was Zaddy, because he has been doing this for quite a while. So I trust his answers, and a lot of times I have yet to see where he has been wrong about anything. So, if we cannot answer your question, one YouTuber that I would suggest, or two actually, that you could go to. One is Hawkeye,
Yeah. Which I
which
use quite a lot in my video. I'm not going to say videos. Which I use to actually find out some spots which work for me on fishing. Um, he is one of my go-to people I look at for fishing spots.
yep, and then Zaddy
Yeah.
is another one that you can always try to look
Yeah.
for as well. He does some pretty good, amazing coverage on a lot of the locations. He's got videos for bass farming. That's where I learned about how to go after uniques if you want to go after the uniques.
Yeah. Um,
So
yeah.
just if there's other questions that we have not yet covered, definitely feel free to ask.
Yeah.
And if
Um,
we cannot
yeah.
answer it, then definitely go searching for Zaddy or Hawkeye. I'm pretty sure they can answer your
Yeah.
question as well.
Obviously, if you've looked at the fish for location, um, or the fish for location, and obviously you look for the preferred baits. Be like, oh, I don't want to go through a whole list of figuring it all out. But you want to take certain baits. You can just go to your inventory when it lets me this time. You will see obviously where I've highlighted. Obviously got the bait highlighted. It will say the fish that are in general what will go for it. Sometimes when there's a bit too much information, like the eels, no, you sometimes will get some which will say a few of the fish that it will be, but then it'll bring up extras when go for extra information or description, and it will say a bit more. Because obviously, where you couldn't see the weight of the small minnows, you're now able to get the information that the weight of the small minnows is medium to heavy weight. Um, Obviously, when you're fishing, you will sometimes get where it says, let's see, yeah, the terminal tackle is too heavy for this rod because the weight of the bait, or maybe the cage or the float, is too heavy for that rod. Make sure I've got that back on. Ah, me backpack. Transfer your back over. There we go. Let's see. Right. Now, obviously, I proved that I can get red worms. Just to prove. Right, it's past midnight for where I am by 19 minutes. So what I should be able to do, hopefully, when it lets me, when it lets me, when it lets me. Yay! And obviously, because it's a new day and I've actually gone to location, it's reset my daily bonus. 1 bait coin. Yay! Even though that system's kind of off by one slightly, I think, but that's me personally. And obviously, I went to a random room. Right. So, firstly, and as you can see, I can get my free red worms. Whee! Right. Now, This might be a question actually that some people might ask. A lot of people will probably ask, I don't want this, global chat up. How do I get rid of certain bits, or not have it not show up? Yeah. Where is it? Which one? No, I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. There we go. If you go down to, I think it's filter messages. Yeah. Obviously, all you can do is filter the messages, and then you can either, what? Yeah, and obviously slide them on and off. So obviously, people join. A person level up. They do the challenges, so on and so forth. People put up sports events, but you don't want to see them sport events. You can turn them off. Someone's broken a line or broken the rod, have them turn off. People have caught something on. Turn all these little bits off. Even your friends coming on or off. That is how you sort out your messages, so you only see what you want to. If you don't want to see a single thing, you can just turn the whole lot off.
Just go to a closed room.
Or you can go closed room. Or you can do without going for that. I don't like the sport. Yeah. Or I don't like the sport events anyway. Or when it comes up, you can change it to the single one, which is just your bit of information. If you had a chat with yourself with your friends, it would be. Hang on, let's see. Can I just do this quickly? Are you on there? Where are you? There you are. Yeah. Have it on that and close it, and all it'll do is just say information about you, or if you're having a chat with your friend, and that's it really. But it will come up with the orange little circle if something happens, people catching anything or people put messages. Now, if you ever get stuck, not all the time, we'll see if we can prove this in here or not. Not all the time, but you can sometimes get people who will help. Let's see if we get a response. Hello. And of course, probably no responses at all. But sometimes people will and are happy to help. Obviously, some people have their chats off completely or not at all, and somebody left. Typical. But yeah, if you ever do need help, yeah, you saw him ran. You're like, no, run away. Yeah. Sometimes you could be in the chat room, put hello, ask how you're doing. People are happy to help other people. You're not just by yourself. You're not just having to listen to myself or even Shadow. Other people, even playing the game, are happy to help. Fine. Some people can be a bit funny, but most of the time, people are happy to help you. Even just asking a question, you could have your line snap. What do you think I'm doing wrong? People are happy to help. I'll notice people have their line snap. I'll say you might need to turn your drag down.
It's a fish that you're trying to figure out what to go for,
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Emerald Lake. There's only two spots that you can actually catch the soccer cats.
Yeah.
And I've seen people actually trying to go after the soccer, going over there, and you'll see someone catch it, and you'll be like, wait a minute, where did you go to catch that?
I've been on here and people have been trying to catch the catfish on Lone Star. I'll say, okay, I'm going to cast my float rod out to a certain distance. I'll put a bait which none of the fish will go for, which on Lone Star is going to be a large minnow. Well, I've not had anything can't be caught on a large minnow, but usually if not, I'll change my leader to a 1 and I'll put a worm, so it's literally at the top of the surface. It's happened once where they've actually taken the worm out of a lead length of one. But I'll put a float rod in the spot saying cast a feed around there with pet food, and you should get one. And usually,
Now, also be aware that even with the pet food, you also get the greater sunfish there in Lone
yeah,
Star. If you want, now if you're just targeting just the catfish in Lone Star, my suggestion, the cut bait. No other fish in Lone Star will go after the cut
yeah.
bait.
Now, I said I was actually going to show how I do my feeder, but seeing as I'm actually here and I've got a feeder and I've got pet food, right? Now I'm going to go here because I know it's around here. Unfortunately, because my screen's a bit small, my judgment might be off a bit. I think it's a rat. Oh, I'll go there. It's usually about there. I'm going to go there. Now I haven't put my rod stand down. Now obviously I'll wait till my cage hits the bottom or sinker. Obviously I zoom in. Now I'm going to reel until I've got tension. And then I move it slightly, even though it started ringing. Crumbs. Bit quicker than what I wanted to do. I'll try and get it set up to the right bit again. Yeah, and see, now you've proved me wrong. But because I'm using a lesser rod, 20 experience, 41 cash. It's the right way. Double experience. And this is because it's a beginner. Right, I'll try and get it this time. Probably won't be the right one. There's a size 2 hook that I should have caught. Oh. Right, cast. Sinker set. Pick up the slack. And all I do is I move it slightly, just to the side. Now, I know some people will wait till they get, the actual rod bend on the bit underneath the pet food. You don't need to. If you've done fishing normally, in general, all you need to do is see a little bend in your rod itself, and you'll be fine. Now, all you're going to be waiting for is blue bars above your line, rod, and reel. Now, if you're not watching the TV at the time, having the bell helps, because when that bell starts going, you either be interest, or if your game's a bit laggy like mine can sometimes be, the bell will not go off unless you've got a fish on your hook. Which all you do is you then snap it, or hook the fish, and then start reeling in, and I can drag down.
Now, another thing that you can also do that I have done is, especially with the bottom and the feeder rods. Well, technically it's just bottom slash feeder because they're both bottom set rods.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this can be the same way with the carp rod because it's pretty much a bottom rod as well. But if you actually wait to look, you'll hear that bell going off. But also sometimes if you can see your line, watch your line. If it's moving back and forth, you have a fish on it. If you don't see that, there's no fish.
yeah. Usually, you'll notice it more moving back and forth when it's on stands. Not going to say it's not when you're holding it personally, but you will see it a lot easier if it's on a stand. Now, if it's on a stand, even if you have a bite alarm, have the bell, because when the bell's going, you've got a fish for definite on your rod. If it's just your bite alarm going off, don't worry. So when your bell starts going, that's when you've got a fish. Unless you've got problems where your bite alarm's where your bite alarm's going off but your bell's not, but your bite alarm's been going for a good 5-10 seconds, then you've got a fish. It just means your bell's not lagging the information to say you've got the fish. Which has happened to me a few times. I don't think I've got my angle right with my feeder. Let me just move it slightly. Yeah, there we go. Obviously, sometimes when you move it, it will sometimes move the cage, obviously, when you're moving it to the side. Just in case, I'll add a bit of tension just by hitting the reel button just slightly. And I'm surprised I'm not getting anything on the feed. A minute. See it now, I can't prove it again, can I? I can prove it once, not twice. I should have gone to Lesnar. That would have been easier to prove it, but yeah. See, as you see, Mr. Sandman broke his line. The only reason why he may have broke his line is because he's either got one of two things. He either had a pickerel or he had a smallmouth buffalo on his line, and he had too much drag for that line, or rod, I should say, and that's why his line broke. Now, if the rod's down, I'll put the rod down, and then I'd see. Fortunately, I'm not in one of the best spots. Let's just change my spot. And yeah, again, got it in. Right. Let's go over here. Find the best time, and I'll set it. Right, let's see. I got pedos. Oh. Didn't mean to say it like that. It sounded a bit wrong. Didn't mean it to. Right. Let's oh my. See, you realise what I said when I said it. Damn. I'll go to 7, at least it'll be a bit brighter. And of course it went foggy. Right. Now I'm going to aim around there where the splashing is. Cast. I'll go after the smallmouth buffalo because it'll be a bit easier. Zoom in.
Well, I have to go because I'm gonna eat, but I will probably be streaming again tomorrow. You might as well.
Yep, I certainly shall be. I'll be streaming the 2 sport events on the Fisherman and Fish Planet. Hopefully, as long as they're active and I can get back in time back from work, I will stream both events. And I'll be hopefully in chat with yourself, where we can have a bit of fun with it all.
As always, it's a pleasure.
Yes, certainly has been. Hopefully I can catch
See y'all later.
Yep, see you later.
If I can find my way out.
It happens as what I'll be doing when I'm having to figure out how to stop the share. That'll be fun. Oh, but it'll be a laugh.
But I will talk to you later, Wes.
Yes, I certainly will.
Pleasure.
Always has been.
You can find me on Twitch as well, but mostly I stream on YouTube. So
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know how YouTube is. It might be that you're in. It should show up that obviously I'm subscribed to you, so they might be able to find you through my subscriptions. Hopefully. So they should be able to find you that way as well.
You can also do links in your description on the video as well. So, but
we'll have to talk about that so I can sort it out.
yeah, we'll have to. Yeah. I might have to show you how to do that separately.
Yeah.
But and also I can also help you with your layout as well.
Yeah, they'll help me out. Certainly will.
Maybe after I'm done eating, I can help you out with that.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm probably going to call it an end for the stream tonight as well at the same time. So we're both saying goodbye to everyone. I hope you enjoyed the stream, especially my first one. Not going to say it's the best I've ever would have done, but everyone has to start somewhere, as they say.
Beginner is pretty decent.
Yeah. But hope put a comment or even just message on this at all. You know, if needs we go to Dark Shadow Vamps, watch his videos. If you have any questions or any comments, we don't mind hearing and listening to them, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah,
as best as we
if you're a
can.
fishing player and you have more pointers for us, just let us know.
Yeah, and we'll share and help everyone else out.
Yep.
So, goodbye from us both, and happy fishing, guys.
Yep. Yep. Keep fishing.
Keep fishing.
All right. I'll see you later, Wes.
See you later.